Writers Radio. I'm Kath Keneally on this, whose work appeared on last year's Writers Radio series. In the meantime, it's won him an international prize that's going to help him get it into print. Here he is to explain.
Well, Interactive Publications, as far as I know, they've been running this national competition. It actually covers New Zealand as well for, I think, over a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
Interactive in that I think they're trying to pioneer markets with the advent of the Kindle being the new next product on the horizon. So they do, like standard print runs and get books into bookshops and that sort of thing, and have their own distribution networks. But they're really trying to, I think, get behind this whole new revolution in electronic books, that type of thing.
Okay, so you will have your book electronically available, but also physically.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be in print. Of course, I have a natural love for that sort of thing anyway, so I would hate to see it not be produced in that sort of manner. But it's interesting, and the book's interesting itself because it comes with a CD of spoken word and musical tracks that sort of highlight the main narrative thread in the novel.
Yes, it does. That's a kind of a sweetener, isn't it?
Well, it is. And look, originally when I was writing it, I had in mind actually, it's a young adult book. I mean, I think it's appropriate for an older reading audience as well because it has some fairly substantial themes. But I'm also a secondary teacher, and I could see a real need for it, a sort of like a niche market in particular in the school systems. And particularly it's a verse novel, and I think a lot of teachers in particular, they feel quite intimidated by teaching poetry. And I think by writing a verse novel where you've got poetry but it's narrative, so you can analyse characters and you can go you can explore themes, and it is less intimidating because they can still teach it like they would a novel, and yet they can still pick it apart as if each poem in many ways stands in its own right, and so they can look at poetic techniques and that sort of thing.
And what are your poetic techniques? Are you a fan of rhyme? Are you using some of those more traditional techniques?
Yeah, look, it's free verse, and it's not. There's a little bit of rhyming stuff in there, but generally speaking, there's a mixture of different styles, and so that gives people the opportunity to sort of sample and check them out.
And what about the ones that you made into songs? There's Johnny's song that I was listening to earlier.
When they came, they opened fire on the people.
Well, we pride ourselves, and I think properly so, in standing up for human rights. Military assistance programs expose the trainees to democratic ideas and humanitarian standards.
I'm very concerned about what's happened in East Timor. We have ignored it so far.
Morning hangs like a veil. Our broken dreams fill these graves. Our prayers scratch holes in the sky. We came here to mourn, not to die. Reach for your hand as we walk. Your skin is so tense, but so warm. Soldiers stand around with their guns. They'll drown in screams as we run. And I watch you fall, lifeless bird from the sky. You slip through my fingers, no kiss, no goodbye. So I lay down my arms around you, and the shots fire while I cry for you. For
years.
It was 10 days before I was to give birth. The army was shooting people, and they would die at our feet, but you couldn't stop to help them.
I know families that were totally wiped out. 2 American newsmen badly beaten, Mr. Alan Laird and Miss Amy Goodman.
The Indonesian army converged in 2 places.
Wiping the hair from your face. You stare vacant eyes into space. Oh, sticky, wet red on my hands. Your body lies limp in my arms, and I watch you fall, lifeless bird from the sky. You slip through my fingers, no kiss, no goodbye. So I lay down my arms around you, and the shots follow, I cry for you. I miss you.
So some of the tracks have actually been made into songs, and they sort of, like I was saying, they reflect the main narrative thread. So in the story is about a young Filipino boy. His mother's Filipino, his father's Australian, and so it's an arranged marriage, and it sort of falls apart, and the mother and the boy end up living in the Commission Flats in Melbourne, and they befriend a East Timorese asylum seeker. And so it's a coming of age story. So this young Filipino boy is messed up, but he kind of starts to emerge out of the doldrums, partly through sharing in this story of this asylum seeker, and he realises, that his life perhaps in perspective is probably not as messed up as it could be in comparison to others. And so Johnny's song is actually a reflection on this young boy's experience of the Dili massacre in the early 90s, and it's about he's a busker, and he's on the city streets, and he writes this song about losing his mother at the Dili massacre. And it's got sound bites from the actual massacre that were taken from news footage.
Yeah, it's quite a highly produced little song, that one.
Well, it is, yeah. Look, I've been working with a guy called Don Stewart in a studio in Warrnambool. It's his own private studio, but he's quite an accomplished musician, and so he's been interpreting a lot of my work and writing the music for it largely. Some of the music's mine, but his hand is fairly heavy in the process. Yeah, and I think it's a great track. It's evocative, and I think it captures the devastation of that event.
It does. And who's singing in that?
Oh, it's actually a former student of mine, although I'm teaching a lot less because I'm pursuing writing now, but a very talented student musically, and I think he could just capture that sort of angst and terror of this character very well.
Yeah. And otherwise, in those audio tracks, it's your voice reading the work.
Let the rain kiss the old tannery sheds, decades worn but standing on Flockhart Street, where forklifts scurry like ants, moving pallets blue painted onto trucks. Let the rain kiss the towering red brick walls of the Carlton and United Brewery, and the autumn wind blowing the smell of barley hops down Church Street to the old bearded man sitting bottle empty in Citizens Park. Let the rain kiss the rusted steel roof of the wool sorting shed on Burnley Street, where fleece is no longer tossed across the grading table, and where the voice of the foreman is no longer heard. Long deserted, sign of another age. Let the rain kiss Richmond's Little Miss Saigon and her long veranda walkways stretching up Victoria Street, where Asian grocery stores spill out onto the footpath, restaurants perfume the street with the scent of lemongrass, sesame oil and fried bok choy, and the painted names on shop windows shout at those walking past. Haifu Butcher, Thuong Hung Hot Bread, Hoa Hoa Imports, let the rain kiss. Let the rain kiss the bluestone laneways behind Victoria Street, where beeping garage trucks lift green skip bins to the sky, where effluent leaks from broken pipes and dope dealers sell happiness by the gram. Let the rain kiss the council workers, stop sign leaning on Punt Road, gridlocking traffic, and the concert posters hastily slapped to cold stone walls. Let the rain kiss the little plastic intercom, never lonely for conversation, at the Needle Exchange office on Lennox Street, where junkies collect their cotton, syringes and spoons. Let the rain kiss the Richmond Hills Food Centre behind the Church of St Ignatius, where my mother loads the Matthew Talbot soup van twice a week before driving out into the hungry night. Let the rain kiss the boom gates editing people in and out of Channel 9 studios on Bendigo Street. Yes, let the rain kiss this place where stars rise and fall, and where our thinking is digitally remastered behind closed doors. Let the rain kiss the twisted neon tubing that flickers to life at night, the Nilex clock glowing atop the malting silos on the banks of the Yarra, and little Audrey, the skipping girl, jumping all night over her rotating fluorescent rope. Let the rain kiss the corner hotel, where shrewd buskers can turn a profit from the drunks' champagne spilling onto the sidewalk. Let the rain kiss all the places in Richmond our feet have tread and our eyes have touched. Wet with rain, wet with sorrow, wet with memory, wet with joy and laughter. Let the rain pitter-patter fall, and let me fall too. Knee to chest, lip to ground, 1,000 papal blessings over this sacred town. Let the rain kiss and cry no more, because the sky is tired of weeping. Let the rain kiss with wet, anointed lips these places I now call home.